Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is John Demers. I am the General Manager of Atlas Copco Taiwan. And it's my pleasure to be here at the SDG 2020 Forum here with you in Taiwan. Allow me to introduce to you Atlas Copco's efforts on setting goals and targets for these sustainable development goals. But for this presentation, allow me to focus on our organization and the partnership we were able to create in our organization and the people and the processes. Normally, I spend a lot of time just talking on and on about our products. It's for us an easy thing to do, to talk about the technical side of what we do to help our customers and our business partners reach their goals. But for this presentation, I'll focus on our organization and how we leverage the globality of our organization and the people that we have in so many countries to allow us to reach our goals and our customers and help our business partners' goals. So I guess the best thing to do will be to give you a little introduction on Atlas Copco so you understand what I mean by globality, because in fact, we have customers in over 100 countries. We operate with 39,000 employees in over 70 countries. So we ourselves are a global ecosystem, so to speak. So global partnerships for Atlas Copco starts from within. When you start so long ago in Sweden, it's a small market. We have no choice for a long time to look at this global approach. And it's been part of our ecosystem and part of our approach now for the better part of our 147 years now in existence. Part of this globalization means that we're decentralized. We are an organization that operates in 4 business units in many geographies, including in Taiwan for over 60 years now, for 61 years. So we operate decentralized geographically, but also decentralized on a business side or on a market side. We have 4 business areas, one being compressors. We have a vacuum business area, we have a tools business area, and we have a power business area for portable power supply. So we're quite a decentralized group. That has made it such that we are a very balanced group as well. Globally, we are what we call a one-third, one-third, one-third company. 1/3 of our business comes from the Americas, 1/3 of our business comes from Europe and the Africa continent, and 1/3 of our business comes from Asia. Now, you could fault me, it's maybe 1 or 2% off, but for all intents and purposes, it's a 1/3, 1/3, 1/3 company. And we operate like that. So operationally, we follow the same structure. We operate and we have significant factories, distribution centers, and customer centers in each of these regions. So we operate very globally. So this means if you're this type of company, as we are, aligning together to create a common approach towards many things, including company culture, including setting SDG goals and reaching them, requires a lot of partnership within our own company, which happens to be global partnerships, being the very nature of our company. So how do you do it? How do we do it? Well, it starts like many partnerships. The first thing you need to do with partners, of course, whether it's internal or external partners, is have a common vision. So none of this works if you don't, together with your partners, whether it's suppliers, shareholders, employees, if you don't have a shared vision, creating goals together that mean something that you are motivated to reach becomes very difficult. In our case, internally, it's a little bit more easy in the sense that internally it's quite a little bit of an easier practice to reach a common vision. Our vision is to be and become and be first in mind, first in choice with all our stakeholders, whether it's our customers, whether it's our suppliers, our business partners, our employees. We want to be the first company you think of when you want to get a job. You think of when you want to sell your goods, that you think of when you want to buy a compressor, when you want to buy a vacuum. And after thinking about it, we want you to be sure that we are the first one that you select. So thinking of us first is one thing. Making sure that you eventually partner with us is another. Once we've established that this is our common vision, together with our own organization, we need to put together a mission. Of course, it's like many large organizations. You have a vision, you need a mission to reach your vision. Our mission is that we must be providing sustainable and profitable growth. What is sustainable, profitable growth? For us, it just simply means we must grow in the right way. Why grow? It's very simple. Like any organism in life, if you're not growing, you're dying. So in order to be a company that can continue to do what we believe is very valuable work towards the environment and society, in providing all the solutions that we provide that are, we believe, beneficial to all of us as a society, we must be growing, we must be alive, we must be living. We cannot be in a state of, we'll say, stagnation or even contraction. So we must grow, but we cannot grow in a bad way. We cannot grow inefficiencies. We cannot grow mistakes. We cannot grow abuse. We must grow sustainable, efficient practices. So we must make sure that what we grow and actually has a benefit in us growing. That society says, please keep growing because what you do adds benefit to our society. Now we have a common vision, a common mission among our own internal global partnership, we'll say. The next thing to do is make sure we have a mutual motivation to do this. In our case, we need to make sure that we have 3 reasons why we do it. We do it for people, for society, and our own people, our own employees, and people in society. We do it for the planet. We do it to make sure that the environment receives what deserves, which is, in our view, the best solutions to be able to help it thrive. And of course, we must be able to make a profit. Why? Because people that invest in us deserve a reward. If people invest in what we believe is Atlas Copco, a very responsible and sustainable company, we want to make sure that they have a return, that we reward them for this good behavior, which is investing in a sustainable company. And then maybe they think of that, the next company that they invest in, or the next organization or NGO that they invest in, they make sure they use these earnings, and now we feel we have a good partner that will invest these earnings in another great organization or ours again. So we have a mission, a vision, we have mutual motivation. In our case, what we did was we said, now we have all these 3 axes in line. Let's put together our goals. And our goals we broke down in 6 families, 6, we'll say, core areas. These core areas are people, safety and well-being, the environment, of course, innovation, which we commonly call products and service, which is basically our innovation targets, if you will, profitability, and ethics. So these 6 core values we selected for very clear reasons. One, as I mentioned before, profitability is key. If you want to make sure you continue to grow and share with people what you're gaining as not only as revenue but as other winnings. People, we need to make sure that we have a culture of collaboration. We have a diverse company. We are inclusive. People want to come work with us, and people stay and work with us for a long time. Ethics, we need to make sure that the people that we employ act in an honest and respectful way. innovation, so the products and service, we need to make sure that everything we design has a purpose to be of a positive impact to everyone that uses our solutions. Safety and well-being, we have not only the goal that we are a safe company, but also that working with Atlas Copco actually improves someone's health or improves someone's safety profile, so to speak, so that we are actually contributing to better health and better safety. And then the environment, which is to make sure that everything we do has the smallest impact on our environment, the smallest footprint, and everything we use responsibly. So we've got our 6 core areas that we've defined. The next step for us is to make sure that everyone has ownership. We talked before about decentralization. When you're a company acting globally like we do, we need to make sure that the people that are scattered all over have ownership of their actions, ownership of our target, our mutual target, ownership of our goals. And how you do that is to make sure that you include everyone when you're creating these targets and creating these goals. So how we've done at Atlas Copco, it's 39,000 people. It's not easy to bring in a meeting room. So we created a process whereby we have 16 workshops that were created with 70 representatives covering every spectrum of our 39,000 employees that were able together to create a committee with back and forth and feedback loops to as many of the 39,000 employees as we could have to generate the final goals. And these goals, if I can go through them with a helicopter view, each of these goals that we generate has measurable targets, has measurable facets to them. I'll keep it high because we could spend a lot of time on the very detailed aspects of it. But profitability, we have targets to make sure that our revenue grows in an organic way, also supported by strategic acquisitions. We need to make sure that we have a high return on capital employed. If you have a high return on capital employed, you are an efficient company. You are using the capital you are given and generating a solid return, an efficient return. And it's demonstrative of a company that does not waste. So for us, we must make sure we have a high return on capital employed. And we must make sure, as I mentioned before, that we share these earnings with our shareholders, that we reward people that invest in responsible companies so that they continue that behavior. This, of course, has a direct correlation with SDG 8. So whether it's coincidental or meant, you will see as we go on to other goals, in some cases we impact many more of the different SDGs, as is the case with people. Our people targets, without going into the numbers, we need to make sure that our people believe they have an opportunity to learn and grow with the company, feel they're respected within the company, and feel that we're a balanced company that's inclusive, that's diverse and inclusive. And here I have an example. If we take one, we'll say diversity or balance indicator, which we were able to identify as being a gender, the gender balance. For us, it was an evident one. We are an engineering and industrial company, so it was clear that we have an imbalance when it comes to gender, which we needed to work on. So we created a We Love Diversity task force. Task force was created. You can find this task force in each of our business areas. The task force we belong to has upwards of 40 different regions, countries, areas, we'll say entities that belong. And Atlas Copco Taiwan is actually a very strong contributor there because we are a positive adder to the gender balance. In our case, almost 30% of our workforce in Atlas Copco Taiwan is women, are women. So we're a great example. So there we're able to be the global partner that can sort of be a good example to the rest of our colleagues around the world on what we do and what we can also do better, of course, and learn from each other. But there we have a great opportunity as Atlas Copco Taiwan to be a very important member of this task force. So one of the ways that we collaborate globally. Moving on from that goal to ethics, we have clear and measurable ratios that we must reach, making sure that our employees sign our code of conduct, our business code of practice, that our employees are trained in the code of conduct, that our leaders and managers are the ones doing the training, and that our suppliers and distributors also comply by signing on to our code of conduct. These are all ways that we can ensure proper, respectful, and ethical behavior, which has a direct correlation to the Justice SDG number 16. Following that one, we have the products and service goal, the innovation goal, if you will. I won't spend too much time here. If we stop on this one and we talk about innovative products, it'll be a long time before I let everybody go. So, but for us, it's all about designing products, designing solutions, designing services that aim to reduce the environmental impact of everyone that uses our products and services. And we ourselves, when we deliver these products or deliver these services, must make sure that we also reduce our own environmental impact. And this has a direct correlation to the SDGs 7, 9, 11, 12. So we touch 4 of the different SDGs as defined by the UN. As far as safety and well-being, as we mentioned before, we want our employees to know that we actively take a genuine interest in their well-being and their safety, and that we have a very balanced, we call a safety pyramid, which aims to have 0 accidents, 0 recordable injuries. As far as well-being goes, it's important also for our employees to know that we care about the well-being not only of them, but their families and their neighbors and their communities. So here we have another example where in Taiwan we were able to partner with the Atlas Copco group worldwide. Atlas Copco has for more than 35 years a program called Water for All. Water for All was created by some Swedish colleagues of ours over 35 years ago, where they raised money and bought equipment that we provide in order to help a community in Peru with acquiring clean drinking water and sanitation water. And this took off, and it became a CSR engagement that we have in over 40 countries, and including Atlas Copco Taiwan. And a huge percentage of Atlas Copco Taiwan's employees proudly donate to this, and these donations are equally matched by the company. And we are able to help regional areas to obtain clean water access as well as for sanitation. Last one being the work that we did in Cambodia. So we were able to help a community in Cambodia, a school in Cambodia, and provide them with clean drinking water and sanitation. So another example of an activity or a program that started globally and was taken here in Taiwan and driven forward. Finally, the environment is another one that we could spend an awful lot of time discussing, especially when it pertains to SDG. There, we of course make sure that we have measurable and quite aggressive targets on our own CO2 emissions, on how we operate and how we transport goods. We continuously reduce waste. We continuously reduce water consumption. And that all of our suppliers have the same drive, have an environmental management system that they themselves have the same drive to reduce waste. And then there's a multitude of SDGs that are impacted by these actions. These are, of course, all of these actions are, of course, very clearly measured and actions that you can find in our annual reports available on our website. So, that's a little bit my story, but I included this last image here. This last image is from the Atlas Copco book. The Atlas Copco book has been in circulation in Atlas Copco for about more than 25 years. It's a book that was created that allows us to communicate to all our employees around the world in a very graphic way, in a very cartoon. We have images, and share our culture, and share our group goals and our group vision and mission. And I know SDGs definitely have critical importance, especially going forward. But that's not to say that we should minimize for all of our companies what has been done in the past and accelerate on it, because for us, the SDGs, whether we call them SDGs before or not, are things that we've been working on for a long time. And here is one image that's one of my favorite, which is "Together we make it happen," which I think is a great way to define how we can together partner and make sure that we can all help each other reach our own goals and even reach higher, together within our own companies or together across our companies. We have a mutual need to do it, and I think it's the time to make sure that we make it happen together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. John DeMorse. I have two questions for you. The first one is, according to your presentation, Atlas Copco set 6 business core values first, and then match the 17 SDG goals with them correspondingly. What's the benefits of doing it this way?
What's the benefit? I'm not saying that the formula is by any means something that is cookie cutter. I don't say that any one way is better than the other. For our purposes, like I mentioned before, we felt that starting with the reasoning behind our goals, so talking to our stakeholders, be it employees, distributors, customers, and creating those 6 core values that we wish to focus on, and painting down and finding that we touch so many SDG goals with those 6 values. As you saw in my presentation, is one value may touch 6 to 7 goals in some cases. We found was maybe a more coherent or cohesive way to communicate this to such a big global organization than starting with 17 goals and working your way up, which may result in fragmented maybe goal setting. You may be working on one SDG goal that if you had a little bit of the helicopter view, you would notice, but if I combine this with 2 or 3 or 4 other goals, I can have one cohesive value or theme I could be working on and impact those positively, those 4 goals positively with one action.
Okay. The second question is, please share with us one of your local SDGs projects.
One of the local projects. So I've already spoke about 2 of them, the gender diversity project that we have globally, for which we are a local ambassador. Also the Water for All program that we also run from Taiwan. But another thing that I said I wouldn't talk about our products, but I think it's very difficult for me not to do, is we've been in Taiwan for 60 years. We have fantastic partnerships with some of Taiwan's great companies, and there are many. And because we've been here for that length of time, we have very good relationships and trust, and we almost do feel like internal partners. And we've been able to, and I won't specifically mention anyone, but in several cases, provide them with very clear energy saving solutions. And then, as true partners, we don't just provide them with a solution and then walk away and then send an invoice and then they would be happy. We go the extra mile to make sure that these partners use it to its utmost efficiency. So they are trained on how to use these solutions to make sure that any savings that we gained are not lost after 6 months of leaving the site. We maintain it with them, but we also help them to present their case to government organizations to show the amount of energy that they're saving and obtain proper remuneration from government programs where it's possible. So we are also able to help them present this to the entities that would reward them for these types of projects. And we've been successful in saving many of our customers a great deal of energy and have a chance to submit this to the government organizations that were able to reward them for this hard work that we did together.